quite exciting because you know the first bit where Jenny's like riding with all the men going to work in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's the music of like, and I was like, yes, it's back. Like I'd been away for like 12 weeks or something. And I hadn't. I'd literally watched it like the week before. But yeah, I was loving that. And she was just there, like getting down to business. And then she goes into Nana's house and they're like, happy birthday. Here's a cake. You've just been staring down a vagina. And yeah, I loved it.
I mean, I don't want to make light of a very serious situation, but when Jenny Lee says that one of the most difficult parts of her job is having to pry, I was like, oh no, surely that's one of the best parts of your job.
I did think of you.
So nosy.
Oh my gosh, we have really unearthed how nosy you are, Bex, and this is why
I'm awful.
Well, do you remember? Listeners won't know this, but Bex once went for a meal out. And someone was breaking up with someone on the table next to her. And she was like basically out with someone. And she was like, shush. And like basically made them listen to the conversation of the breakup all night. And I've since heard the story of the breakup. It was juicy.
Yeah.
It was amazing. He was moving to Singapore and he basically brought her out to a restaurant to tell her that he was moving to Singapore and she was not going with him. It was so good, Jen.
When Lynette donated. I'm sorry. When Lynette left her baby on the steps of Renata's house,
abandoned
it to
abandoned. Yeah, I severely apologize. Donated is not the wrong word. Absolutely the wrong word.
Because also I don't know, like twins, like it's borderline incest.
I literally wrote kind of incest ? I truly didn't know. But then
we know that the nuns are fine with incest, so.
Exactly. If anything, they celebrate it. The one that really annoyed me was Sister Bernadette being all like happy and smiling. You've literally just been walloped in the gob. You'd be off. I know she's a nun, but you'd be annoyed. I'd be happy with them.
Sometimes she's too saintly. It's a bit much.
Sorry, Bex.
Well, no, I was going to say if anyone's going to forgive you for slapping them, it's a nun, but I don't think you should really go there in the first place.
Let's test it out. If you know any nuns,
let's not like test that theory, right?
No, let's do it as a challenge. If you know any nuns, listeners to Recall the Midwife, go and slap them. Tell us how it goes.
We do not condone violence. Nobody should do that. Yeah, but
also we've got pints with 8 kids with him. Like, if my husband went to the fete on his own with just my one daughter, he'd be like totally stressed, and he's got 8 kids running around there.
They just raise themselves, Alex. Once you've got 8, you don't really need to do anything.
We're not living in the age of like modern invested parenting here. Like this is a very like live and let live style of parenting. When did women all over the world get girl power? 1895, 1996. We've always had girl power.
And you're so American. I love it. Well, I do have a TB story. It's like my syphilis story.
No, Becky's not obsessed with syphilis. She also does not have syphilis. She did tell a story about syphilis. Someone she knew had it. Anyway, carry the floor, Beck.
So my dad's uncle had TB when he was a child. So he had to go to live at his grandmother's house, and he lived in the chicken shed. Because he slept in the chicken shed because the ventilation for his lungs
was good.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't think chicken poo is good for your lungs.
Well, he lived. I don't know how long. Apparently, he went to live in the chicken shed in the orchard. It sounds very.
But chickens were not hopefully living there at the same time that he was convalescing.
Yeah, but Jen, right? They had an orchard, like a chicken shed in an orchard. They're going to be posh. Let's be honest. It's like an Airbnb nowadays.
No, they weren't posh. They were.
Is this the kind of thing where like how Marie Antoinette referred to like how she had a cottage, but it was really like an absolutely stunning palace, and it was like just off a little bit to the side from Versailles, and it wasn't like 70,000 square feet, but it was like 20,000. That's is that what we're trying to get here, Bex?
She's saying it wasn't like that. They weren't posh, but they had an orchard. Like my family didn't even have a garden. So
well, but no, they lived in rural Cumbria though, so I can assure you it wasn't posh. But so he lived in the chicken shed. The chicken shed actually apparently got washed away in a flood in the 1950s. But yeah, he So he always had, like, he was always affected by the tuberculosis, but for a time he lived in a chicken shed.
TB shed, we're going to call it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, but he got better, you said.
Yeah, he got better, but and my dad did say that, like, it was always in the background throughout his life.
Well, also, I just have to think, as a life experience as a child, like spending months, alone in a chicken coop. I mean,
you weren't alone, Jen. You had the chickens. Did any of the chickens get TB?
Yes, a well-known, amazing, like, support systems for small children. Yes, really.
I'm surprised you didn't go down with bird flu.
Maybe he started it. Maybe the whole thing now. They need to look at your uncle or your great uncle.
Oh yeah, it's a sanatorium. It's an establishment for the treatment of people who are convalescing or have a chronic illness.
Yeah.
They should have just put her in the chicken shed and should have been fine.
Call back.
Anyway, they kept showing Sister Bernadette in this room, like, with this letter unopened by Dr. Turner. And then
I was just like, for God's sake, open the letter.
Well, I knew you'd be like that. But
actually, wait, stop. So, you know when I thought of Bex was when that nurse kept on coming in and she was like, "Oh, I think I figured it out. You're da 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 da," and then Sister Bernadette didn't say anything, and then later on there's another scene where she was like, "Oh, a handsome doctor," da da da, like dropping these hints because she just definitely wanted to find out everyone's life story. And I thought, this nurse is the Bex incarnate character of this episode.
Read the room. Every time she's referenced this letter, she's like, "Oh, International Nurse of Mystery, International Nun of Mystery." Like, she made her feel fit. She looked physically uncomfortable, and I was like, "Read the room. Like, your joke didn't work first time. Shut up."
This nurse is literally stuck in a No, I'm sorry. This nurse is literally stuck in a sanatorium with 45 people who just spend half their time sleeping and their other half time staring out the windows. She's got to find a way to pass the time. I mean,
no, I'm sorry, I don't agree that harassing a patient is the way to do that.
Oh my god.
Sometimes it's got to be done, Alex.
I agree. I totally agree.
So I was just going to say, so when Dr. Turner basically is rushing to go and collect her from the sanatorium because he wants to pick her up, he didn't want her to get public transport back. I just love the bit where Timothy just pops up in the car.
Oh, I know.
Dr. Turner had no idea where he was. He thought he was off cleaning some equipment. But also, thinking that Timothy was off cleaning equipment, he didn't think to tell Tim that he was going on this 60-mile round trip.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his son. He's not interested.
Well, also, I totally agree, but I also like the way Timothy was out the window like a dog.
I wrote that in my notes. That's so dangerous. Like, he was literally like, "I'll keep a lookout." It's like, Tim, the windshield is literally clear. You can just see her through the windshield. But he was like, "No,
hang on. This is the episode where Anthony was just bouncing around in the back of the van." Do you know what I mean?
But she starts to open it, and then it's a piece of paper, and it says, "Will you marry my dad?" Which is so freaking cute.
Yeah, but I thought it might be a dead.
That's exactly. That's exactly. Can you imagine if she'd opened that and she was expecting a diamond ring and she gets a dead moth and she's like, I've totally misjudged this situation. I think I'm going to go back to the sanitarium for another week or two while I reconsider my choices.
Oh, it's so sweet though. And like, I know like the community hall where they do all the, look at women's vaginas all day. Like, it's not the most romantic one, but it was so romantic because obviously that's where they shared like their free-sons and stuff. And I just thought it was so lovely. And the way that he involved Timothy, but Timothy wasn't actually there again.
No one knows.
He was too busy cleaning up the back room. Yeah, he couldn't be there for that proposal.
Well, he left him on the road and he was like, "Make your own way home, Timothy. Me and your future mum are going home like this." My zero of the week, despite this gorgeous proposal and everything like that, it's going to be Dr. Turner for the way he treats his only son. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go off and find the love of my life. Hang on, my son's what? He's cleaning a load of equipment, like, and then he's like shouting at me in the car. Yeah, and then he's also like includes him in the proposal, but also doesn't include him in the proposal because he gets him to basically write this down, Timothy, draw this, Timothy, and then bye, Timothy. So yeah, he's my zero of the week. But what an episode, ladies! What an episode!
Oh my god, Timothy is like very Cinderella vibes, like in this episode. He's like constantly having to like sweep, clean, do the washing up, cook the meals and everything. Like,
no wonder he's like writing to anyone to be his mum. He's like, come and live with me, so I don't have to do anything.
Timothy is so ready. I mean, yeah, like talk about. I mean, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And we see more of Alec because he comes. Well, he's obviously courting. Jenny Lee courting.
Again, Becky has come from 1959.
She's just a reincarnated soul of an old lady.
Courting. Are you courting anyone? That's what I used to get when I was little. And I was like, what do you mean, courting?
Also, I loved when Dr. Turner was like, will when the kids are, oh, we don't need to talk about the kids' Christmas party, but
yes, we do, that's where the polio happens.
Oh, yeah,
also,
we do.
Also, I have a thing about it too that I want to mention.
But I do love Dr. Turner taking all the kids for a detour past the cordon. Like, let me take you as close as we can to the bomb site.
Yeah, he's like, you guys want to see this horrific bomb site? Yeah, like,
well, and all the boys are like, bomb site, and then I'll take you to the surgery to see some dead bodies.
And all the boys are like, woohoo! We were watching the scene where Sheila puts on the gray dress, like, again, you know, she's like, okay, you know, and so there's.
I thought she was going to hang herself, by the way, when I first saw that.
No, you didn't. So anyway,
I definitely did. She was standing up on a chair.
I haven't seen you for 6 months and I'm just banging around concrete. Like, how are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And they have a long conversation.
Like Daddy Pig's the world expert on concrete from Peppa Pig, by the way. Just, you know. Jimmy is just like Daddy Pig, is my point. And hang on. Did we have big, massive conflabs about your 2 zeros? No. We are keeping with my zeros.
I'm not asking you to change. I'm not asking you to change your 0. I'm just saying that, like,
you're just arguing with me about my 0, and it still stands.
It stands. It definitely stands. But I'm just saying, I don't think the only reason that I give Jimmy a bit of credit is because of his looks. I think I also give Jimmy credit because of the situation that he's in and the things that are happening. And I think that he does deserve his side of the story as well.
No, you reminded me of then Sister Monica Joan.
Oh.
Wow!
Dagger in my heart.
What a roast, Bex.
Is that because I insulted Jimmy?
Drag her to hell and back. Oh my gosh.
So who would you be?
Yeah. Okay, girls. I've been thinking of this, like, if I was one person on the show, who would I be?
Francine married to Jimmy?
No. We have to put an embargo on that whole topic. Although no, I'm not even gonna make the comment. Okay, my brother-in-law commented was that all the nurses would just, whenever they were there and they weren't going to talk to them, they would say, "Hey, Dad, like, come on over here," and da 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 da. And then they would call my sister Mom because they didn't want to really like learn everyone's names because it was like way too complicated, or they would forget or whatever. But it was like they would call them Mom and Dad to kind of, you know, indicate.
Yeah, no, they called us Mummy and Daddy. They did. They called us Mummy and Daddy.
Yeah,
which, looking back, is sickening. Makes me sick a bit in my mouth. Like, I find myself calling my husband Daddy sometimes. I'm like, bleh. I'm like, Daddy, can you pass that? Bleh.
How's it keeping the romance alive in your house there? Huh?
We're getting a divorce. No, we're not. Although, if we were, what a way to announce it on a podcast. To him.
My parents have only ever called each other Mum and Dad. They don't call each other by their names.
Well, can I have to tell you guys something?
Now, Bex.
Yeah,
like when you're not there, you'd be like, Dad.
No, because now they call each other Grandma and Granddad.
Yeah, but when you're not there, I mean, maybe they've got some really, really sexy pet names they use when the others aren't there.
This has gone too far.
Here, I'll go first on this one. So, okay, Shirley Redmond's husband.
Which one was Shirley Redmond again?
Shirley Redmond's husband. Shirley was the one that had her baby kidnapped by Mary. Remember, little Penny Kathleen was kidnapped?
Oh my God, no, it wasn't Dougie. What was his name? It doesn't matter what his name was.
I couldn't figure it out. Okay,
it's just a face to us.
And who's my other options?
David Jones. Remember Mary and David? They, like, she was the violinist, and then she.
What, he goes out with Jenny in real life?
Yeah. And then who's my third option?
Irene Kelly's. I literally said these already once. Okay, Irene Kelly's husband is the one that had the broken arm that made Cynthia wet the baby's head, and he was out of work, and then
I'm avoiding him because he's not got a job.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So he's the one I'm going to avoid. I'll snog David Jones, and I'm going to marry Shirley Redmond's husband. That's my list.
Okay, Alex?
That's probably what I would do. That's exactly what I would do.
I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Although, go on, sorry, Bex.
So I would definitely marry Shirley Redmond's husband.
Yep.
And now I'm torn because I would have avoided Davy Jones.
David Jones, yep.
David Jones. But who was my other one?
Oh my God.
The one that had the broken arm that was out of
what you're talking about. I can't remember what you just
The Kelly baby that died.
Remember and Cynthia had all that trauma.
No, I've just spoken about the Kelly baby. David Kelly. That's your cousin.
That's my David Jones, the ginger one.
David Jones. And then who's the other one?
Oh my, honestly, this game is backfired. Shirley Redmond.
So David Jones is the violinist.
Husband, yeah.
And then who's the other one?
Oh. Shirley Redmond's husband. The baby got kidnapped.
I've married him. Who's the other one?
I'm trying to get a fourth.
It's 3 men, Bex. It's David Jones, the one that married.
Oh, Jen, move on.
Okay, we're done. Bex, you need to resolve your medical history, like, the situation right now before we go to the next group. Okay.